Globespan 24x7 News. Good evening and thanks for joining us. My name is Samuel Supnandan, coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. Here are the major headlines for today. Neighbor confessed to murdering potential resident found in drain. Only third parties could make a difference in Guyana, says political analysts. Blairmont estate workers call off protests after meeting with Labor Department. Suspect had grudge against Noel, says brother of murdered Fisherman. And public asked to take precaution against waterborne illnesses. Over to you, Whitney.
Thank you, Samuel. Good evening, and now for a look at the major headlines in the region and around the world. Guyana has not been reaping the full benefits of the oil sector, says economists. 18 Venezuelans intercepted for illegal entry into Trinidad and Tobago. Canada's Prime Minister to name a new cabinet by November 20th, 2019, and 39 bodies found in a refrigerator in the United Kingdom. These stories and more in just a short while. Here's Kingsley Bryan with the sport headlines for today.
Thank you. And for sports headline, 2019 WIFBSC Shooting Championship fired off in Trinidad and Tobago. Carter named as captain for upcoming regional Super 50, and Kylian now the youngest player to score 15 Champions League goals.
And now for a look at the news. Former Foreign Minister Rashley Jackson, 90, earlier today had to be rescued from his burning Republic Park East Bank Demerara home after a fire of unknown origin erupted. According to reports received, he was rushed to the nearest hospital after inhaling a lot of the smoke. Firefighters arrived promptly on the scene and tended to the fire, which appeared to not have caused extensive damage to the home. The former minister's condition is not known at this time. Jackson served as Guyana's Foreign Affairs Minister in 1978 until he resigned in 1990. Meanwhile, an East Coast man has succumbed to injuries he sustained during a fight with a relative. Arvin Dipchan, 35, called Krishna, of Dutch Fort East Coast Demerara, died on Tuesday night. Reports are that a relative of Dipchan threw a hammer towards him, which hit his head, causing him to fall to the ground. He was also dealt several blows to his head with a stave from a fence. While he managed to escape, he collapsed a short distance away from the incident. The man was then taken to the Maikoni Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Police have managed to arrest the suspect, who was assisted with the investigations. A man who hacked his wife to death while she was on work duty at Mahik on the east coast of Demerara on June 1, 2016 was today sentenced to 22 years behind bars. Athlone Pitt, 45, who brutally chopped his wife to death and injured her cousin, was sentenced by Justice Joanne Barlow at the Demerara High Court. Brenda Thomas was a security guard at the Bajaville Secondary School when she was attacked and killed. And in other news, President David Granger has returned to Guyana last night from Cuba, having completed a scheduled medical evaluation over the past few days. The medical specialists in Cuba have expressed complete satisfaction with the state of the president's health and have explained that the head of state's ailment is now in remission. In keeping with the strict medical procedures of the Cuban health system, he is expected to return to that country for another scheduled routine medical check in January 2020. Thereafter, the next evaluation will be in June 2020. President Granger was received yesterday by the Cuban Foreign Affairs Vice Minister, Ana Teresa Gonzalez Fraga, who took the opportunity of discussing some aspects of Ghana-Cuba relations with the president in the presence of Ghana's ambassador to Cuba, Halim Majid. In the meantime, President Granger had reiterated his gratitude to Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, the government of Cuba, and the medical team, which has been responsible for his treatment in Cuba over the past months. Third parties are the only hope for change in Guyana that will help to end the two-party system of dominance and possibly halt the polarization across ethnic lines, says political analyst and former four-time government minister, Dr. Henry Jeffrey. More in this report.
Yes, I think it's only third parties can possibly make a difference to Guyana today. it depends on what they do. If they should join with any of the large parties, they will make no significant difference to how politics happens in Guyana.
That was political analyst Dr. Henry Jeffrey. Dr. Jeffrey, who also belongs to a small party that was recently formed and is dubbed a New and United Guyana INOG, said joining the PPP or PNC will not help any small party to get their goals realized.
If any of the parties that's formed, ANOG, for instance, joins the PPP, what difference would it make, or joins the PNC? Either way, either party wins the presidency and the parliament, the other ethnic groups will be left out of the process because these are small parties. They will add nothing significant to help to bring the races to work together. So it's only small parties to help them. Joining one of the large parties and sitting with them would make absolutely no difference to how Ghana is run and the ethnic biases or anything.
Dr. Jeffrey, who served as a Minister of Government for close to 20 years and held various portfolios during this period, said small parties will help to strike a balance and bring about constitutional change, something that is desperately needed in Guyana.
My feeling is that there are a lot of people out there, 10% of the population, that is totally fed up with this law and will support small parties if they go with a positive program. If you just go say, I am going to join with the PNC and make them better, well, what good is that? You can make the PNC better. I mean, it's nonsense. Are you better than Burnham, Jagan, and all of them that try to do it from Peter Degar, everybody, the AFC? You are morally better than these people. You're intellectually better than them. Why do you think it's like this? It's not like this because all these people are wicked and stupid or evil. It's the nature of the system.
The political analyst reminded that Ghana has two large parties, the PNC and PPP, that controls about 85% of the votes, and there is need for them to be brought together to change the political dynamics in Guyana. He feels that only small third parties could accelerate that change. While some persons may see the formation of new small political parties similar to how the Alliance for Change AFC started, Dr. Jeffrey thinks otherwise.
But the AFC never promised. In the manifesto, what they did was pick up the PNCR promise. That's what happened. The AFC was made essentially to try to win the elections in the long run. Yeah. They were supposed to bring, Ramjatan and Trotman was supposed to be Jagan and Burnham, bringing the people back together. They were never meant to be they never promised any shared governance or nothing like that. Yeah. So they got into office, and then since they had no real ideological, that's part I agree with Heinz on. They were just opportunistic political players. They wanted to win, to be better than the two.
Dr. Jeffrey concluded that small parties like INOG are not interested in winning an election because they know it may be impossible. Rather, they are looking to create a third force to try to push for changes. In INOG's case, that party wants to see shared governance realized. For Globespan 24x7 News, I am Samuel Suknandan. The Georgetown Mayor and City Council, MNCC, has refuted the claim that they are currently considering the return of the Park and Meter project, as reported by sections of the media on October 19, 2019. MNCC's Public Relations Officer Deborah Lewis said, at this juncture, the council is still awaiting a response from the Minister of Communities, Ronald Bulkan, on the review order by Cabinet. The council, Lewis said, will abide by the decision made by Cabinet in relation to the Park and Meter project. In 2016, the City Council signed the Park and Meter contract with Smart City Solutions and began implementing the Park and Meters in January of 2017. This saw drivers being required to pay $50 for every 15 minutes or $200 to park at a designated location for an hour. This decision was met with resistance from several groups that formed themselves into an organization against the implementation of the Park and Meters. This led to the government suspending the bylaw, essentially stopping the project. In January of 2018, the Parking Meter Renegotiation Committee was tasked with relooking at the contract. The group proposed a reduction in the parking fee to $150 per hour. The council then approved the amendment by law in April of the same year. This is currently with the community's minister pending review and approval. The PRO added that Georgetown Mayor Pandit Ubraj is also exploring other options as a way to reduce traffic congestion in the city, which includes the provision of parking lots within the capital. Sugar workers attached to the Blairmont estate have resumed their normal duties today, following a meeting with a team from the Department of Labor and the Ministry of Social Protection, led by Minister Amna Ali and senior management of Gaisuku. More in this story.
Intense protest actions by the Blairmont estate factory workers, the Department of Labor met with the concerned workers, Gaisuku, and the Guyana Agriculture Workers Union on October 22. The department, which was represented by Chief Labor, Occupational Safety and Health Officer Charles Ogle, among others, sought to hear from the union and the corporation what factors are at the root of the dispute that led to the protest action by the workers. The factory workers of the Blairmont estate resumed their protest actions on the afternoon of October 21 after Gaisuku failed to budge and rather choose to ignore their valid and principal concerns regarding the breakdown of the system regarding promotions at the estate. General Secretary of the GAHU, Sipol Narayan, explained that it was the plight of the workers which forced them into the protests. Gaisuku, through its representatives, also explained their version of the matter. Following those explanations, it was agreed that the dispute would be addressed by the ministry at the conciliation levels with the parties. In an effort to restore normalcy to the estate, the workers called off the protest actions after meeting to a feasible agreement with Gaisuku. The GAHU and the workers are hopeful that the proceedings will ensure that justice is meted out and the corporation would respect its long-standing procedures and practices. The workers have shared the view that their demands are principled and just, and all they seek is fair and equitable treatment. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Commissioners of the Ethnic Relations Commission, ERC, yesterday met with the executive members of the Alliance for Change AFC political party and with representatives of the European Union, EU, in a subsequent meeting. The meeting was the third of the political parties the Commission has engaged so far as part of its agenda to call on political leaders to be mindful that the messages being used during the campaign season will not heighten ethnic tension, but rather unify and galvanize the nation to express their democratic right to vote without any prejudice. The Commission also had a fruitful discussion with envoys from the EU regarding matters relating to the imminent elections. The older brother of now dead Metamir Zorg fisherman, Noel Singh, believes that the prime suspect in the murder had a deep-rooted grudge against him. Shakimade has that exclusive.
Michael Singh, the distraught brother of 19-year-old Noel Singh, who was stabbed to death last Sunday, has alleged that the suspect held a strong grudge against his brother. The man, via a telephone interview with Globespan 24x7 News, disclosed that on the day in question, his brother had only returned from a fishing trip and was out celebrating.
Lady by the name of Anu, there is a stepmother. Data came in there and I said, come on, Michael, so your brother fight with somebody, go out there, see what happens. When we go outside, I see my brother in mud. A cloud, really just cloud the drain and he lay down and he threw his hand and he left. But he threw his hand and he lay down from the back and he left just so I'm a hold him, I'm a heist him, I put him in my arm, I'm a talk to him, and he answer me. And I have a taxi, you know, everybody said taxi go come. I had to left with my other stepbrother and I run the road and collect a taxi and coming back and the taxi, when the taxi come, I heist my brother, me and my stepbrother heist him and put him in the car and I became to the Lenore Cottage.
The older Singh said that by the time they arrived, his brother had already succumbed. According to him, his brother had no issues with the suspect, but believes that from previous incidents, he had an issue with the younger Singh.
No, they never had a problem. But recently, like about Mother's Day gone, here, Morrissey was gone. My brother went drinking by the step brother. That about 200 meters, 300 meters away. And the said guy that killed my brother, he just walked through one track. He and me, if he had a company, walk through the track and see like, if he got any jealousy over my brother or what. And walk through the track and tie my brother up for beat him. And his other step brother come out. Same time for the house, why my brother went drinking and the boys him run away. And my step brother Lucy out and he come home a house. So it's like, I don't know if he had jealous my brother for something or me and no, but my brother never ever mentioned nothing about that guy, because if my brother gets in problem with anybody, which he's not no troublemaker, and he would have come and tell me. But there's nothing like that. So he come out of the gate, so that guy been a hide, so me for just have him.
Meanwhile, according to police, the autopsy conducted on Noel Singh revealed that he died as a result of perforation to the heart caused by the stab wounds. He is expected to be laid to rest tomorrow. The suspect, 20-year-old Ramesh Ramdeen, called Brafi, is still in police custody. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Thanks, Shakima. Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Karen Cummins will represent Ghana at the 18th Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Non-Aligned Movement scheduled to be held in Azerbaijan. The meeting will be commencing on Friday and will continue on October 25 and 26. The theme for its general debate is upholding the Bandung principles to ensure concerted and adequate response to the challenges of the contemporary world. The government of Ghana says it is fully committed as it participates in the high-profile summit and will make efforts to continue to work to maintain peace and security and global disarmament. At the summit ministerial meeting held at the recent 74th United Nations General Assembly, Dr. Cummins reiterated Ghana's commitment to the core principles of the entity, such as the peaceful settlement of disputes, respect for the territorial integrity of states, and non-interference in the internal affairs of states. During the upcoming summit, the Republic of Azerbaijan will officially resume the chairmanship of the non-aligned movement, succeeding the Bolivian Republic of Venezuela. The non-aligned movement was founded in 1961 in Belgrade and continues to play a fundamental role in the preservation of world peace and security. Remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest news in Guyana, the Caribbean, and around the world. Coming up on the other side of the break with Shakima Day. Neighbor confesses to murdering potential resident found in drain, and high tide warning issued. Public asked to take precautionary measures for waterborne illnesses.
Globespan GT is a proud sponsor of Globespan 24x7 News. Here are some exciting news from Globespan GT. Fares have dropped for next year, starting January 20 to August. American Airlines has cheap fares on non-stop flights to New York. Flights are as low as $306 one way and $540 round trip, all tax included. Take advantage of these cheap fares on American Airlines non-stop flights to New York. Globespan has also cheap fares to Miami, Toronto, Canada, and the Caribbean. Call Globespan GT in Georgetown at 227-1701, that's 227-1701, or in Rose Hall call 337-4298, and New Amsterdam at 333-6230. That call Globespan GT in Georgetown at 227-1701, that's 227-1701,
or in Rose Hall, call 337-4287.
and in New Amsterdam at 333-6230.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. We'll continue tonight's news by telling you that police have made a breakthrough in their investigations regarding the discovery of an unidentified man whose body was found in a drain at Potentia on the west coast of the Marara on October 21. The man was later identified as 57-year-old Abdul Ghani, called Dennis, of Lot 56 Potentia Housing Scheme, West Bank, Demerara. His body was found clad in a blue pant with a plastic bag tied over his head. Upon removing the bag, police discovered that the man's face was badly battered. According to reports received, a neighbor who was questioned and later arrested subsequently confessed to murdering Ghani. He revealed that on the evening of October 19, 2019, Ghani was at his home when an argument ensued and he dealt several cuffs to his face. The next evening, he confessed to tying a plastic bag over the man's head and dumping his body in the drain where it was later discovered. The body was positively identified by the man's brother-in-law. The autopsy conducted by state pathologist Dr. Nihal Singh revealed that the cause of death as brain hemorrhage, blunt trauma to the head compounded with bronchoaspiration of blood. Meanwhile, during the period of October 25 to October 30th, 2019, Guyana will experience unusual high tides. According to the Maritime Administration Department, tides will reach a peak of 3.31 meters. The Civil Defense Commission wishes to advise the public, particularly those who reside in riverine and low-lying areas, regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, to exercise much precaution in order to minimize damages to property and to prevent any health hazard. Residents are advised to take the following actions. Floods, damages to sea defense, and overtopping should be reported to the National Emergency Management System at telephone numbers 1700 or 600-7500. In other news, in light of the upcoming high tide warnings, the Public Health Ministry is asking the general public to take all the necessary precautions to prevent the contraction and spread of waterborne diseases. More in this report.
The upcoming October 26 high tide is expected to hit the low-lying coastal areas with a high risk of flooding. This can pose a risk of waterborne diseases to persons who may come into contact with the dirty water. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Prasad of the Ministry of Public Health has advised what measures residents in these areas can implement to avoid contracting waterborne diseases. He stated that, open quote, one of the greatest risks with intermittent flooding like this is usually it pushes all those pests like rats, snakes, and those sorts of creatures to higher ground, and some of them invade homes. The issue of leptospirosis is still one that is of concern to public health, so ensuring that you protect all water sources, all your drinking water supplies, food supplies are very critical, end quote. Dr. Prasad stressed that persons must avoid venturing into floodwaters. However, if there is a need to be in the water, persons must protect themselves at all times. The CMO noted that the Guyana Water Incorporated has been doing their part to ensure that their water supply The CMO noted that the Guyana Water Incorporated has been doing their part to ensure that their supply of water to residents is not compromised. Open quote. Guywa has been working with us to ensure that the water pressure within the distribution network is maintained. Even in the last episodes along the Amstel and parts of Region 5, they have upped the chlorine levels in the water that they were distributing to maintain a high enough pressure in the distribution network. When the pressure drops, dirty water can be sucked into the pipeline and pumped into your homes, end quote. In areas prone to be affected by projected spring tides, the health centers are equipped with the necessary medicine and emergency supplies. Also, these health facilities may serve as a relief facility if there is a need. For Globespan 24x7 News, Shakima Day.
Travelspan is a proud sponsor of Globespan 24x7 News. Travelspan has some cheap fares to Guyana on American Airlines flights. Fly from January for $234 one-way and $512 round-trip. Take advantage of these cheap fares on American non-stop flights from JFK to Guyana. That's non-stop flights from JFK to Guyana starting as low as $234 one-way and $512 round-trip. And also has the cheapest fares for Christmas that starts as low as $7.99 round-trip. Travelspan celebrating 25 years in business with over 10 offices to serve you. Call 718-845-0437. That's 718-845-0437. Or book online at travelspan.com. Book early and save.
Travelspan GT is a proud sponsor of Globespan 24x7 News. Here are some exciting news from Travelspan GT. Fares have dropped for next year, starting January 20 to August. American Airlines has cheap fares on non-stop flights to New York. Flights are as low as $306 one-way and $540 round-trip, all tax included. Take advantage of these cheap fares on American Airlines non-stop flights to New York. Travelspan has also cheap fares to Miami, Toronto, Canada, and the Caribbean. Call Travelspan GT in Georgetown at 227-1701, that's 227-1701, or in Rose Hall call 337-4298, and New Amsterdam at 333-6230. That call Travelspan GT in Georgetown at 227-1701, that's 227-1701,
Or in Rose Hall, call 337-4287.
and in New Amsterdam at 333-6230.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. We do apologize for that technical difficulty and will continue tonight's news by telling you that following what can only be described as by some commissioners as another marathon meeting, it was disclosed that the Guyana Elections Commission has completed encoding the data collected from the over 370,000 persons during the house-to-house registration exercise. A decision has been made to make that data available for public scrutiny from Thursday, October 24, 2019. However, opposition-appointed Commissioner Says Gunraj, following the meeting, told reporters that clarity is still needing on a number of issues, specifically the advantage of making the data available.
What we are looking at now is what to do with it. A proposal is to publicize it for public scrutiny, but then to what end? My questions at that meeting were, when you post it for public scrutiny, how does one deal with it? Is one allowed to make an objection? Is one allowed to make a claim? Is one allowed to ask questions about entries on that list? Those are questions that have to be answered by the Secretariat. Up to the present time, we have not received any proposal as to how those issues will be treated with.
Gunraj maintained that the meetings continue to be more of the same with few decisions being made. He alluded to the fact that the fingerprints captured now are expected to be sent overseas for cross-matching, but no detail on how to treat with it. According to Gunraj, he was presented with a fingerprint cross-matching report catering for approximately 180,000 registrants, but will require time to pursue it in full. Meanwhile, government-nominated Commissioner Charles Corbin relayed that, in his view, the Commission has repeatedly ventilated on a lot of issues, and it's now a matter of decisions being made.
All the views associated with how to treat with all the data that is available to us, how to treat with the transactions that are to be conducted during claims and objections, I think that they have all been properly ventilated. I think that positions have been adopted by all members of the Commission. And I think that at this point, from my assessment, it is a question of decisions that have to be made.
According to Corbin, the GCOM chairwoman, retired Justice Claudette Singh, will be left in that position since all votes at the Commission level have ended in stalemates.
At this point in time, I think that the chairman will have to in fact, weigh in with a definitive position on where to go because time is slipping. We have until the 11th of next month to conclude the process, and a number of the decisions to be made impact a response from the electors, from the public. And so the earlier those decisions are made, it would be better for the electors.
The claims and objections period began on October 1 and will conclude on November 11. The Commission was slated to vote on a proposal to remove the names of over 20,000 persons from the voters list for failure to collect their identification cards since 2008. But this did not take place on Tuesday as Commissioner Vincent Alexander was absent from the statutory meeting. Meanwhile, the European Union has indicated that they are prepared to mount an observer mission along with other stakeholders in Guyana at GCOM, a move that has been welcomed by all commissioners. Most of the major Western countries, especially Canada and the United States, have already engaged with the Commission to make their services available to provide any needed support. Open quote, "We already have had interventions through diplomatic channels to facilitate some of the work that we are doing to aid our operations, and that will continue," says Commissioner Charles Corbin yesterday. Only recently, GCOM Secretariat announced that it would be benefiting from the technical expertise of retired Chief Justice, Chief Electoral Officer of Canada's elections body, Jean-Pierre Kingsley. His appointment is being funded by the Canadian government. The international community has been instrumental, along with the parliamentary opposition and civil society, in putting pressure on the government to hold elections. With the exception of Canada, the international community has been on the government's case, urging constitutional compliance. Last month, the Commonwealth became the latest in the line of organizations to urge the president to call elections immediately. Similar calls also came from the United States, British, and European Union. Sleep-In International Hotel and Casino, through their attorney Anil Nandlal, is seeking to have the High Court order the Guyana Gaming Authority to process, consider, and determine its application made on April 5, 2017 for a casino premises and casino operator's license with due expedience.
The hotel, through a fixed-date application to the courts, states that it is in compliance with the requisite criteria for such a license to be granted. Sleep-In International Hotel and Casino said that on February 4, 2015, it entered into a memorandum of understanding to construct a minimum of 155 rooms at its hotel. The hotel first made its application in August 2016 to the Gaming Authority for its casino operators and casino premises licenses, and also paid $9 million as an application fee. Subsequently, the hotel in November 3, 2016, received a letter from the authority informing that the company's application for the licenses has been refused. The hotel committed to further reapplying on April 5, 2017, with a clear view of addressing the alleged deficiencies that were identified by the entity in its letter of refusal. According to the company, with its new application, it was required to pay another processing fee of $9 million, as is required under the Gambling Prevention Establishment of Gaming Authority regulations. According to the hotel, at this instance, the authority wrote to it on August 3, 2017, informing that the company's application was under active consideration and requested that additional documents be submitted to aid in the process. Attorney Anil Nandlal, representing the hotel, is arguing that the process is seemingly meant to frustrate investors, since the delay in approving his client's license is unfathomable. In response to several inquiries, the authority noted that it is awaiting the completion of certain investigations being conducted by the Guyana Police Force in respect to the hotel and its principals. Nandlal has since rejected those statements, stating outrightly that neither the hotel nor its principals has ever been contacted by the police force in relation to an investigation being conducted on its operations. In a bid to gain further clarification, The hotel said that its lawyer wrote to the Commissioner of Police, the Crime Chief, the Commander of A Division, the Minister of National Security, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Gaming Authority, inquiring about the investigations. To date, there has been no response to the letter, and the fixed date application has so indicated such. Nandlal is however adamant that the authority has a duty to issue the licenses to successful applicants in accordance with Section 29 of the Gambling Prevention Act, Chapter 902. The attorney has therefore asked the courts to issue an order or writ of mandamus directing the GCA to process, consider and determine the hotel's application for the aforesaid licenses. The application comes up for hearing on Wednesday, November 13, before Justice Fidelio Corbin Lincoln at the High Court in Demerara. Justice Joanne Bailo on Monday, September 30, 2019, ruled in favor of the Guyana Holding Inc. in a civil challenge filed against the Guyana Revenue Authority and the Gaming Authority. The company, which operates sports betting giant Superbet, had taken the GRA and the CGA to court after they refused to grant them a betting license in Guyana and imposed the requirement of good standing certification as a precondition. Attorney at law Anil Nandlal also represented that company in their matters. For Globespan 24x7 News, this is Kingsley Bryan.
The Guyana Energy Agency in a pilot project has created standalone wind-powered streetlights as it explores various avenues of increasing the country's use of renewable sources of energy. If executed on a large scale, the project is likely to reduce the steep costs associated with street lighting. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure disclosed that the prototype was designed by GEA engineers. With assistance of the Traffic and Highway Light Unit, they installed it on the Georgetown Seawall east of Camp Street behind the Ministry of Education Sports Ground. The light, the ministry says, utilizes a wind turbine and generator to harness energy from the wind and convert it to electricity. The standalone wind-powered streetlight consists of a 500-watt wind turbine, a 40-watt LED lamp, a 105 AH battery, hybrid charge controller, timer, enclosure, and mounts. The first unit installed by the GEA cost more than $200,000. The estimated lone wind-powered streetlights is about 4 years. The GEA is urging all municipalities, neighborhood democratic councils, and civil groups to pay keen attention to the pilot project due to the simple fact that it falls within their mandate. We're now on Twitter and Instagram at hashtag Globespan24x7 to follow us and spread the word. Coming up on the other side of the break with Whitney Prasad at our New York studio, 18 Venezuelans intercepted in TNT for illegal entry and 39 bodies found in refrigerator in the UK.
To keep up with breaking news in Guyana, the rest of the Caribbean, and on the international scene, like, follow, and subscribe to Globespan 24x7's Facebook and YouTube news page. Join the conversation, get live news on the go, and news and details right here on Globespan 24x7 News. Thanks for staying with us.
Travelspan is a proud sponsor of Globespan 24x7 News. Travelspan has some cheap fares to Guyana on American Airlines flight. Fly from January for $234 one-way and $512 round-trip. Take advantage of these cheap fares on American non-stop flights from JFK to Guyana. That's non-stop flights from JFK to Guyana starting as low as $234 one-way and $512 round-trip. And also has the cheapest fares for Christmas that starts as low as $7.99 round-trip. Travelspan celebrating 25 years in business with over 10 offices to serve you. Call 718-845-0437. That's 718-845-0437. Or book online at travelspan.com. Book early and save.
Good evening. Thanks for staying with us. Thank you, Shakima. Now for a look at news and details. Former Guyana Government Minister Robert Prasad, in a recent news article, expressed concern for Guyana as it relates to unfair treatment he believes is meted out to Guyana by its CARICOM member states. In this light, the minister raised specifically the issue of Trinidad's approach to tackle Guyana's business sector shortly after the oil and gas sector began to boom. He deemed the country's action as predatory and urged that action be taken immediately to remedy the situation. The minister said that he believes it is the opportune time to revisit the Treaty of Chaguaramas and redefine what Guyana wants out of CARICOM. Prasad did not downplay the works of CARICOM, but posited that from an experience standpoint, Guyana has always been subjected to halfway deals which hardly benefit the country and its people from the natural resources sector. The issue is one being raised by many of Guyanese economists, and an urgent call has been made for action to be taken in this regard. Reports today confirmed that 18 Venezuelan nationals, including 3 children, were detained by police trying to enter the country illegally by boat early this morning. Investigators told reporters that the Venezuelans were held near the Smith Hill unit until the matter was brought under control. Officers of the Western Division intercepted the vessel and detained the migrants. It is alleged that the 9 males was seen in a WhatsApp video circulating laying flat on their stomachs, while the 6 women and 3 children stood nearby. Police have since called in immigration officials who are expected to question the Venezuelan nationals. Sources say they are expected to be deported soon. Millions of Venezuelans have fled the country amid an economic and humanitarian crisis. The pace of people fleeing has skyrocketed since the end of 2015, and the United Nations has said that the country was in urgent need of international support. The U.S. is lifting sanctions imposed on Turkey 9 days ago over its offensive against Kurdish fighters in northern Syria. This is according to President Donald Trump. According to a report, the president's decision came after Russia joined with Turkey to deploy troops to extend a ceasefire along the Syrian border. Turkey's assault initially started soon after President Trump's unexpected move to withdraw U.S. troops from northern Syria earlier this month. During a televised interview, the U.S. president said it was time to let someone else fight over the long blood-stained sand between the two countries. But he was heavily criticized by both Democrats and Republicans for the abrupt military pullout, as the Kurds targeted Turkey had been key allies in the fight against the Islamic State group in the region. Meanwhile, re-elected Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says he will name his new cabinet on November 20th. The Prime Minister said that he is willing to work with the opposite parties. In so doing, this is Trudeau's first public comment since his re-election on Monday night. Trudeau, however, said that he has no plans to establish any sort of formal coalition and stated that he will make his cabinet gender balanced, just as it was in 2015 when he first assumed office. He says Canadians gave him a lot to think about on Monday night following the elections, and he will take the time necessary to reflect on how to work with other parties. On the other hand, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer has put the burden on Trudeau to work with the provinces and opposition parties over the coming months, while NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has said he wants Trudeau to address his party's key priorities in exchange for new Democratic support. Police in Essex in the United Kingdom are working assiduously to identify 39 bodies said to be found in a refrigerator lorry trailer in the country. It is reported that an ambulance staff made the gruesome discovery just over an hour later after the trailer arrived at Waterglade Industrial Park in Grays. The lorry driver, named locally as Mo Robinson, 25, from Northern Ireland, is being questioned by police. The Deputy Chief Constable of Essex Police said the vehicle had been moved to a secure site so the bodies of the 38 adults and 1 teenager could be recovered while preserving the dignity of the victims. Officers from the Police Service of Northern Ireland have carried out raids on 2 houses associated with the arrested man and another in a nearby area. Police have appealed for witnesses and anyone with information about the lorry's route to contact them. Hong Kong's legislature has officially withdrawn a controversial extradition bill that has sparked months of unrest in the country. According to that bill, criminal suspects would be extradited to the mainland China. The decision by legislators prompted outrage when it was introduced in April, and thousands of people took to the streets to protest the move by lawmakers. Despite a decision to suspend the bill, protesters continued regular demonstrations, which spiraled into a wider pro-democracy movement. It is the worst crisis for Hong Kong since the former British colony was handed back to China in 1997. The bill also presented a serious challenge to China's leader in Beijing, who have painted the demonstrators as dangerous separatists and accused foreign powers of backing them. The proposed bill would have allowed for Hong Kong to extradite criminal suspects to places it does not have any extradition treaty, including mainland China, Taiwan, and Macau. And finally, to end the news, protesters in eastern Ethiopia have burned copies of a new book by Prime Minister in a show of solidarity with an opposition media activist. Jawar Mohammed had said the government was removing security from his home in the capital, which officials denied. This triggered protests outside his compound and elsewhere in the country. Despite being praised for his reforms, the Prime Minister has struggled to contain growing ethnic rivalries. The police have disputed that security was withdrawn, but Mr. Jawar's statement fueled some frustrations with the government. And that has brought us to an end of this segment of news in the region and around the world. Let's join Kumar Doshi at our studio in India for tech news right here on Globespan 24x7.
Thank you. Namaste, salam and good day to everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Tech Beat on Globespan 24x7. After discussing about USB, today we will discuss about various types of audio and video ports and their functions. An audio port is any receptacle or jack to which an audio device such as speaker, headphones or a microphone can be connected to a computer. They are used to record and play audio. Here are some of the audio ports. Surround sound connectors or 3.5mm TRS connector is the most commonly found audio port that can be used to connect stereo headphones or surround sound channel. A 6-connector system is included on majority of the computers for audio as well as microphone connection. The 6 connectors are color-coded for ease of understanding. Headphone jack is the analog socket used to plug in a headset, earphone or headphones. A microphone jack is an analog socket used to plug in a microphone. A video port can be used for connecting a monitor to a computer, or it can be used for connecting a television to a computer. Desktop computers typically position the video port on the back, while laptop computers can position the video port on the back or the side. A video graphic array or VGA port is found on many computers and projectors. It is a 15-pin D-shaped connector and is usually blue in color. A VGA port is the interface between a computer and a monitor. All modern LCDs and LED monitors support VGA port, but the picture quality is reduced. Digital Video Interface or DVI is a high-speed digital interface between the computer and the monitor. It was developed with an aim of transmitting lossless digital video signal and replacing the analog VGA technology. HDMI or High Definition Multimedia Interface is a digital interface to connect high definition and ultra high definition devices like monitors, HD TVs, Blu-ray players, gaming consoles, etc. HDMI can be used to carry uncompressed video and compressed or uncompressed audio signals. HDMI can carry digital video signals up to a resolution of 4096 by 2160 and 32 audio channels. Tomorrow we will discuss more about network ports and memory card in computers. This wraps up for today's Tech Beat. I'm Kumar Doshi bringing tech news from India. Back to our studio in Guyana for more news to come. Thank you.
Thanks, Kumar. We'll now take a look at our bridge reports. Now for a look at what's happening in the world of sport with Abel Harris.
Thank you. And now into some sport. The 2019 edition of the West Indies Full Bore Shooting Council West Indies Full Bore Championships fired off Monday with the individual competition at the Tucker Valley Rifle Range, Chaguaramas. Defending champion, Guyanese Ransford Goodluck, is one of 75 shooters who will be competing from Guyana, Canada, England, Bermuda, Antigua, Barbados, and host nation Trinidad and Tobago. Hosting the competition after many years is the Northern Rifle Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and it will conclude on Saturday, following the second team short-range match, and the Guyanese will be aiming to regain this trophy. Since there is no long range in TNT, the Guyanese will retain the championship trophy for another year. Firing off the first shot yesterday to officially commence this year's competition was the acting Chief of Defense Staff, Colonel Darnley Wyke, after addressing the competitors. The full Guyanese team, Mahendra Prasad, captain, Dylan Fields, vice-captain, Ransford Goodluck, reigning West Indian individual champion, Lennox Brathwaite, Jason Fraser, USA-based, Roberto Tawari, Ryan Sampson, Peter Prasad, Leo Ramdio, and Sherwin Felsen. Fields and Felsen will be joining the team tomorrow. The individual championships will continue today and end tomorrow, when the winner will be decided. Friday will be a team match, with the West Indies team match both being shot at the short range, 300, 500, and 600 yards, set for Saturday. The presentation dinner will be on Saturday evening. West Indies left-hander Jonathan Carter has been named to lead Barbados Pride in the upcoming Regional Super 50 in a 14-man squad that sees the return of all-rounder Kyle Mayers for the first time in 7 years. Mayers, 27, last turned out for his native Barbados 7 years ago, having spent the last several seasons representing Windward Islands volcanoes. A lively right-arm seamer and left-handed batsman, Mayers played a key role in Volcanoes' championship success in early 2018 when he snatched 14 wickets and averaged 34 with a bat. However, he played just 3 matches in the last Super 50 later that year when Volcanoes failed to reach the semi-finals. Carter, meanwhile, has taken over leadership of the unit in the absence of the West Indies senior players, who are set to leave the Caribbean later this month for limited over series against Afghanistan and India. The 31-year-old left-hander is the most experienced player in an otherwise inexperienced squad, having played 117 List A matches, and is just one of the 3 players to have represented West Indies. Carter will be joined by off-spinner Ashley Nurse and fast bowler Miguel Cummins, both of whom boast international experience. Kylan Mbappe became the youngest player to score 15 Championships League goals after netting a second-half hat-trick in PSG's 50-0 rout of Club Brugge on Tuesday. At 20 years and 306 days old, Kylan is almost a year younger than Lionel Messi when the Barcelona forward took the record from Raul. The Frenchman was brought on in the 52nd minute and doubled PSG's lead 9 minutes later with a header after Simon Save has fallen into his path. Kylan latched onto Angel Di Maria's pass for his second before wrapping up his treble in 22 minutes when Di Maagres again threaded a ball through the Brugge defense. The victory means PSG maintains a perfect Championships League record this season, having defeated Real Madrid and Galatasaray in its 2 opening games. That's all for sport. Thank you.
Thanks, Abel. And that has brought us to the end of today's news. Before we go, here's a recap of our major headlines. East Coast man dies after being beaten in the head with Hammond plank. Only third parties could make a difference in Ghana, says political analyst. Blairmont estate workers call off protests after meeting with Labour Department. Suspect had a grudge against Noel, says brother of murdered fisherman. And public asked to take precaution against waterborne illnesses. Thanks for watching Globespan 24x7 News. On behalf of myself, Samuel Suknandan, the news and technical team, until next time, do have a pleasant rest of the evening. Goodbye for now.